Hello students, welcome to the online lecture series of St. Andrews Institute of Technology and Management, Gurugram. Myself Satinder Vats, Assistant Professor in ETC Department. In today's video, we will see the characterization of first order low pass filter using Fourier transform, in which we will see the time constant and the cutoff frequency needed for the first order low pass filter, which is a part of unit 3rd of signals and system in EE 4th semester. So let's start. So a first order system or a low pass filter can be represented as this in the frequency domain, in which this is the magnitude. It can be written as h omega as well, h omega magnitude in the frequency domain. So what does a low pass filter do is that it transmit a particular frequency below a particular frequency. It will transmit all these frequencies, and outside that frequency, above that frequency, it will stop the higher frequencies. So there is a cutoff frequency fc. Below that it will transmit this frequency, that is, it is called the pass band, which can be passed through this filter. And if we have a frequency greater than this cutoff frequency, then it will block all these frequencies, so it is called the stop band. So this is the case for a ideal filter, in which we can see there is a very well differentiation between the stop band and the pass band, and we have a cutoff frequency which is well defined. But it is a ideal filter which is not practically possible to design. So we will always have a filter that is a approximation of this filter. For example, if we take an low pass filter, which is can be given as a RC filter. This is our resistance, this is capacitor. If I provide a sinusoidal input to this filter, and output is V0, which is the voltage across C. So reactance of this signal can be given as Xc is equal to 1 upon 2 pi Fc. Okay, so as I increase the frequency, as you can see, if I increase this frequency Fc, so this reactance would start decreasing. Okay, and if this reactance starts decreasing, the output will also start to decrease. So if I will keep on increasing the frequency, okay, then the output will become 0 after a certain instant. So this is why it is called a low pass filter. As I increase the frequency, it will start stopping all these higher frequencies. So it can pass only up to a certain frequency, that is cutoff frequency fc. So in the practical form, it can be given as I increase reactance, the output starts decreasing, and as the frequency increases, slowly it will come out to be 0. So this is a non-ideal or the practical form of a low pass filter. This is the our ratio V0 upon Vin. As we can see, as the frequency increasing, this V0 will start decreasing, so this will come out as, which is in this case this one up to fc, it is the pass band, and after that there will be a stop band. So we cannot achieve an ideal low pass filter, so we will take some approximation. Okay, so let's see, in this case we would use a Butterworth approximation. So if this is our filter, in which we have the magnitude of h omega or hf on the vertical axis and frequency on the horizontal axis, this is a practical low pass filter. So up to a frequency f of p, it will pass the frequencies. Then if the frequency increases beyond that, slowly the magnitude would come out to be, the transfer function's magnitude becomes 0 slowly at the fs, that is the stop band edge, and fp is the pass band edge. So the cutoff frequency would come out at the point where the magnitude of our transfer function is minus 3 dB, that is 3 dB less than the highest value, that is if it is 1 then it will be 1 minus 3 dB, that is the frequency at which the magnitude is 3 dB less than the higher value. So this is our cutoff frequency. Okay, and the difference between the pass band edge frequency and the stop band edge frequency is called the transition frequency, that is the frequency range between the pass band and the stop band. Okay, so if I'll take the Butterworth approximation, which is a very smooth transition, where the transition between the pass band and the stop band is very smooth, as you can see in the figure. So for ideal filter this was the case, but for if I design it for a Butterworth approximation, it would look like this, which is a practical case. So let's see. If I have the maximum, if this is the our maximum value, okay, 1, and this is del p, that is the pass band attenuation, and this is the stop band attenuation. Okay, and this is our pass band edge frequency, and this is our stop band edge frequency. So if it start decreasing here and becomes 0 at higher frequencies, then I need to calculate in this Butterworth approximation what would be the, for what magnitude I would get the cutoff frequency. So this h omega square can be written as 1 plus omega upon omega c raised to power 2n, where n is the order of filter. If this n now becomes n is the order of filter, so we can see it is 1 upon 1 plus omega upon omega c square. Okay, so if it is a first order low pass filter, then n would be 1. Okay, n would be 1 at, and at the cutoff frequency, that is omega is equal to omega c, it will come out to be the, this is the energy spectral density, so it would come out to be 1 by 2 for a low pass filter. So the cutoff frequency would come at the point where this magnitude is 0.5, or the spectral density is 0.5, that is 1 by 2 of the final or the maximum value. So an ideal low pass filter can be represented as this, in which allows the frequency, cutoff frequency, minus omega c to omega c, that is the magnitude is 1 for minus omega c to omega c, and otherwise it will be 0. So it will pass the frequencies in the range of this, that is minus omega c to omega c, and otherwise it will not pass all these frequencies. So let's take an example and try to understand the low pass filter, how it works. So we need to design a low pass filter such that the filter passes exactly half of the energy of the input signal. So we need to design a filter which passes exactly half of the energy of the input signal, and input signal is given to us as e raised to power minus 2t ut. Okay, so now taking the Fourier transform of the input xt, I will get x omega as 1 upon j omega plus 2s e raised to power minus at. The Fourier transform of it is 1 upon a plus j omega. Okay, so this comes out to be 1 upon j omega plus 2. So we all know that output would be the input into the transfer function, both in frequency domain. So output would be 1 upon j omega plus 2, that is x omega, as the filter is working in the range of minus omega c to omega c. For this frequency range, the output would be 1 upon j omega plus 2, otherwise it will be 0. So energy of the input signal now can be calculated as, we know the energy can be calculated as xt square and integral minus infinite to infinite. So it comes out to be minus 1 by 4 into e raised to power minus 4t, and the limit is 0 to infinite, as the xt is a right-handed signal, so limit would be 0 to infinite. So it comes out to be 1 by 4. The energy of the input signal is 1 by 4. Now the energy spectral density of output, that is y omega square. So energy spectral density is nothing but the energy which is spread across the frequency range. Energy spread across the whole frequency range, that is from minus omega ct to omega c. So this energy will be y omega square. Okay, so it can be calculated as 1 upon 4 plus omega square for minus omega c to omega c, and otherwise it is 0. So energy spectral density ESD is the energy which is spread across the energy band, that is from minus omega c to omega c. Now energy of the output can be calculated using the formula 1 upon 2 pi minus infinity to infinity y omega square d omega, as it is spread across minus omega c to omega c. The energy would become 1 upon 2 pi minus omega c to omega c 1 upon 4 omega square d omega. So now if I integrate it with the frequency, okay, with respect to frequency, it comes out to be this 1 upon 4 into 1 upon 1 plus omega square by 4 d omega. So it comes out to be 1 upon 2 pi into 1 by 4 into tan inverse, as the integration of this is tan inverse omega by 2 into 2 minus omega c to omega c. Okay, so finally the energy comes out to be 1 upon 2 pi tan inverse omega c by 2. So this is our output signal energy, and input signal energy was 1 by 4. So I need a filter which passes only half of the energy of input signal. So E0 should be 1 by 2 EI. So putting the E0 and EI values in this equation, I get tan inverse omega c is equal to pi by 4, or omega c by 2 is equal to 1, or the cutoff frequency now comes out to be 2 radian per second. So omega c is now 2 radian per second. So this is how we can calculate the frequency or the bandwidth frequency of a low pass filter. Okay, now we have to calculate the rise time or the time constant of a low pass filter. So it can be drawn like this. This is a RC low pass filter. Input is xt and output is yt. So if I'll take the xt as a unit step function, so let's see how we can calculate. So xt is equal to yt plus rc dy by dt using this equation. Okay, applying the loop equation, we get xt is equal to yt plus rc dyt by dt. Taking the Fourier transform, I will get x omega equal to y omega plus, as it is a first order derivative, j omega will be multiplied as we have seen in the Fourier transform properties. So RC j omega y omega. So transfer function can be written as y omega upon x omega comes out to be 1 upon 1 plus j omega RC, or it was, if it was the case of Laplace transform, it would have come as 1 upon 1 plus s into RC. Okay, now input is ut, that is a unit step signal, which is 140 greater than 0 and otherwise it is 0. So the Fourier transform of a unit step signal can be given as pi del omega plus 1 upon j omega. Now putting this value in this equation, I would get y omega as u omega into h omega, where u omega is a transform of input. So it would become pi del omega plus 1 upon j omega into 1 upon 1 plus j omega RC. Okay, because the transfer function, this is our transfer function and this is the Fourier transform of our input signal, that is a step, unit step signal. So multiplying it with I get pi del omega into 1 plus j omega RC plus 1 j omega into 1 plus j omega RC. So these two functions are there. So this would become from the property of the impulse function, I would get at omega is equal to 0, this would become pi del omega, because del omega is defined at only omega is equal to 0. So using this property, this function would become pi del omega. Okay, and this is 1 upon j omega into 1 upon 1 plus j omega RC. So using partial fraction, it becomes this pi del omega would remain same, and these two functions are now split into two functions using partial fraction. 1 upon j omega minus RC upon 1 plus j omega RC, this is multiply j omega RC. So taking this is pi del omega plus 1 upon j omega and dividing both numerator and denominator by RC, I would get 1 upon 1 plus 1 upon RC plus j omega. So now taking the inverse transform to get the function in time domain, I get yt is equal to, this is the transform of unit signal, so it would become ut, and this is the, it is of the form of 1 upon a plus j omega. So in it a is 1 upon RC, so it's for inverse Fourier transform would become e raised to power minus at, that is a is 1 upon RC, so it become e raised to power minus t upon RC ut. So taking ut common out of this, I would get this ut bracket 1 minus e raised to power minus t upon RC. Okay, so if I draw this function, that is output function, I would get this is the magnitude, this is the time, and this is the maximum value 1 at t is equal to infinite, that is the steady state value. So the function would start rising from t is equal to 0 and becomes 1 at infinity, so it would come out like this. Okay, so this is our function 1 minus e raised to power minus t upon RC ut, and this is the unit step input function. So in this, RC is our time constant, RC is our time constant. So if this time constant is large, that is the value of time constant is large, which depends on the value of resistance and capacitor, then the rise would be slow, that is it would rise to the maximum value after quite some time. Okay, if the time constant is small, then the system will rise from the initial, that is 0 value, to 1 would very fast, it will take less time. Okay, so rise time is nothing but the value of the output to rise from 10% of the maximum value to 9% of the maximum value. So this is our rise time, which you can calculate using the equation, that is 1 minus e raised to power minus t upon rc. R and c is known to us. For this value 1 minus e raised to power minus t upon rc, that is equal to 0.1. I would get some time, and then for 1 upon 1 minus e raised to power minus t upon rc is equal to 0.9, that is 90% of 1, or the final value. I will get one more time, that is if it is t1, if it is t2. So rise time would be t2 minus t1, that is the time to reach the 90% value from the time to reach the 10% value. That is, if it increase from 10% to 90% in some time t, then this time will be the rise time. So this is how you calculate the rise time of a low pass filter. So I hope you understand how can we calculate the cutoff frequency and how can we calculate the rise time or the time constant. So thank you very much for watching.